Hello, family and friends. How are you today? My name is Praise Forware, and welcome to 196 days around the world of family life across the globe. So, this morning we landed in Austria. Austria is somewhere in Europe, so we moved from Australia to Austria. Very long flight, and here we are inside Austria. Family life. 6 fun facts you need to know as a family life professional in case you want to go work with people in Austria. Now, Austria is a landlocked country located in South Central Europe. It shares its border with eight other European countries, each of which have contributed to Austrian culture in varying ways for centuries. In fact, the land of contemporary Austria was once part of a more extensive empire known as Austro-Hungarian Empire, formerly part of Habsburg dynasty, which also covered present-day Hungary, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, as part of Poland, Romania, and Italy. Now, you need to understand that this country, Austria, live by various concepts as, cooperation. They believe so much in cooperation, neutrality, which means you can be neutral on issue, artistry, formality, privacy, pragmatism, and worldview. Austria is ethnically homogeneous with just over 90% identifying as Austrian. However, there are notable Slovenes, in Carinthia, Croatians, Czech, Slovak, and Hungarian minority, but basically it's predominantly, an homogeneous society, which means it's just one culture. I mean, it's so easy to develop like that if your country is just one culture, basically. Now, what are the 6 fun facts about Austria? Number one, you will notice that you won't have to battle with things like polygamy at such in Austria. So it's all nuclear for many of them. The nuclear family is the most common household unit in Austria. Family tends to be small, usually consisting of parents, one or two children. Rural families are typically larger with two or four children. Those in rural areas tend to live near the extended family and we often rely on their family network to help raise family. For example, grandmothers will care for their grandchildren while the parents work. In urban areas, extended family tends not to reside together, likely due to limited space and housing and wide availability of childcare options. Now, according to culture.com, traditionally, elders live with their kids till they pass on, but as often, I mean, that has often changed, with retirement homes, just like that. Now, number two, there's a bit of defined and shared roles when it comes to parenting. Now, according to Culture Atlas, in spite of efforts to equalize the workforce, a majority of Austrians still consider it women's work to do household chores, cook, and care for the family. Of course, that is changing right now with a lot of men now cooking and doing any of those things. Traditionally, men were the head of the household. Traditionally, this is still however, the case in old and rural families, but that has changed. Among urban and young couples, the husband and wife are becoming more equal in their roles in the family. Both parents, especially those in urban areas, tend to engage in paid labor. Women tend to be responsible for household chores and caring for children. However, men are becoming more involved in maintaining the household now. So you need to understand that in case you deploy your tools and you see results that contradict, what you have been used to, it should let you know that, hey, this is a different society. And even within that same unified society, you have the traditional group, then you have the modern group, and you'll get different results with them. So you cannot generalize them. Number three, a child is king in Austria. Infants are well cared by Austrian parents, with mother and father allowed paid time off from work when a child is born. Can you beat that? Right? Families on urban areas tend to be small, and each child receives plenty of attention. In large farming families, siblings and other relatives may be available to help care for infants. That's in rural areas. More infants receive a traditional baptism in Roman Catholic Church. So predominantly, you have a lot of Romans, Catholic people, in Austria. Austrians' educational system is one of the world's best. And that is why the Austrian has a literacy rate of 99%, with children now free to choose the high school they want. Before now, the fathers, would usually choose the kind of high school they should go to. And later, it now became a joint decision. But now a child can actually choose the high school he wants. Now, number four, there's gender equality in Austria. Austrian places great value on egalitarian social structure. Now, according to culture Atlas, which is where I was able to source for this particular information. According to Stand Inside 2018, Austria scores very low in power distance dimension. The score was about 11, meaning that emphasis is placed on participative communication and equality among members of the society. The social welfare system of Austria reflects this value of equality. Indeed, the welfare system is fairly extensive and provides support for most of the world population's health, education, employment and retirement needs. Everyone is educated and socially socialized equally. What the means is, in unlike in some other culture, where a man has economic power and he uses that to manipulate a lot of women. It's not like that. Anybody can work, the jobs are available, and standard of living is quite high, but everything is just fine. You can choose the life you want in Austria and live the life you want. Nobody hinders you. In fact, the law supports gender equality. Number five, there are independent dates. So, in case you want to get into the nitty-gritty of dating, of love, and what have you, dates usually include a meeting in public place to converse with one another, such as a cafe, a movie theater, a concert, or they simply work together. Now, so if you're doing online dating or speed dating, business, that will work for you here. In fact, you will be in a lot of business. However, on a date, you need to understand that the woman and the man will cover their own expenses. So if you're coming from Africa or some other places where it's the man that covers the expenses, in Austria, you pay for whatever you've ordered for. One, however, we usually pay for another on special occasions such as birthdays. Most Austrians expect to marry one day. However, there is very little social pressure for couples to marry. So you don't see things like, oh, my church singles. You don't see people become agitated as, oh, I'm 40, I'm not married now. The age at first marriage is increased. In rural areas, people typically marry when they are in their mid to late 20s, while those in urban areas marries in their late 20s to early 30s. Like some culture where at 15, 16, people are getting ready to get married. Number six, there's elimination of gender-based violence. Even though you still hear about a bit of pockets of gender-based violence in the 2014 EU study, interviews with 42,000 women confirmed that 1 in 3 women in Austria are psychologically abused. So you will hardly see a lot of physical abuse, but it also says that 1 in 5 physically assaulted by the person they call their lover, partner, or spouse. Now, it's also vice versa because we've had situations where a lot of women have also emotionally and psychologically traumatized their men, right? For these women, the family home is not a place of love, but a house of fear. But there are 24-hour, so they've got a prayer covered with the Lord. There are 24-hour telephone hotlines where people can find out what your options are. And the police can issue also a restraining order and evict the violent person. I mean, they do that very well. The police is very effective. So you can see the law surrounding family is very strong and pretty much covers everyone in the family. But the good thing is that you can live your own life the way you want it. You're not bound by any structure or bound by any whatever. I mean, it's an all-inclusive society. So you have the LGBT movement. You see a lot of expression like that in there in Austria. Amazing society. If you want to go work there as a family life professional, you need to know that there are certification programs you need to have, right, for you to be able to effectively function. But trust me, a lot of divorce is going on, and you can actually have a lot of people, especially the conventional, traditional people who really want to stay together, not people experimenting with marriage. So don't be in for a culture shock when you get into that society, especially when you're coming from another society where it's totally different. One thing we've learned in this old travel is to respect people's culture. Now, the question is, what do we do to improve family life in Austria? Especially, divorce can be devastating to various. So, what do we need to do to keep people together? Why exactly are couples drifting apart, right? Is it the influence of the European influence or the westernization, or what exactly is the problem? What used to work, that never used to work? That might be your research topic, and you want to find out. And then maybe you want to place emphasis on a lot of not just dating, but premarital effective counseling. And when it comes to culture compatibility test for couples to test if they have beliefs alignment, when it comes to personality test to know if there is a sync, if they're marrying likes, when it comes to love language code, and when it comes to premarital assessment, there is no other place where you get all those tools unless the family system engineering tool. So you can visit school.iampraisforward.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at the Family Life Therapist. Right, if you visit school online, if you visit school.iampraisforward.com, you will find a course there called Family Systems Engineering Certification Program. It gives you the tools you need to work in any nation of the world and to be very, very effective. I'll come your way again tomorrow as I land in another country of the world. Till then, keep loving, keep living, enjoy yourself, and know that I really care about you. Together, we can heal our world.